Hello students and welcome to Toppscholars. Today we'll be learning about another very interesting and very simple topic, that is WBC's granulocytes and agranulocytes. Students, in this particular topic we'll be learning about the white blood cells, their features, their functions as well as their types. So let us begin. Students, white blood cells are abbreviated as WBCs and they are also called as leucocytes. Yes students, also known as leucocytes because they are white in color. One type of leucocyte is the lymphocyte you see in the diagram. The word leukos means white and cyte means cell. Students, these are the true cells of all the blood components. I am calling them true cells because they have a nucleus, cell membrane, cytoplasm, and it has suspended cell organelles also. Students, the other blood cells, that is the RBC, does not have a nucleus. Even platelets do not have nucleus. That is the reason they are not considered to be true cells. Moving on, let us study the general features of white blood cells. Students, white blood cells have an irregular structure and they vary in shape as well. Their size ranges from 12 to 20 micrometers in diameter. Also students, the lifespan ranges from 12 hours to as much as 12 days. So as compared to RBCs, WBCs are very short-lived. Other than this, white blood cell count is 6,000 to 9,000 cells per ml of blood. Moving on students, let us now talk about the production of white blood cells. This production is occurring in the cells of the red bone marrow. Other than this, it also occurs in some of the lymphatic organs like lymph nodes, spleen, thymus, etc. This production of WBCs is termed as leucopoiesis, that is the formation of white blood cells. Students, let us now take a look at the different functions performed by white blood cells. The very first one is phagocytosis and amoeboid movement. These cells are able to show specialized movement called as diapedesis. Now, what exactly is meant by diapedesis? Let us take an example. Let us say students, a white blood cell is present inside a blood capillary. Just outside the blood capillary, there is some bacteria. Now students, there are pores in blood capillaries, but these pores are much smaller than the diameter of WBCs. But as WBCs are amoeboid in shape, they can squeeze out of the pores in the capillaries and reach the point of infection. This particular phenomenon is called as diapedesis. Other than this students, let us see some abnormalities of WBCs. Sometimes the white blood cell count becomes very high. It is called as leukocytosis. Sometimes it becomes very low. Then it is called as leukocytopenia, or we can just term it as leukopenia. Moving on students, now let us study the different types of white blood cells. White blood cells are broadly categorized into granulocytes and agranulocytes. As you can see, we are first focusing on the granulocytes, in which there are further three types. Acidophils, also known as eosinophils, then we have the basophils, and finally the neutrophils. Now structurally, these cells are different. Eosinophils have a two-lobed nucleus, basophils have a three-lobed nucleus, and neutrophils have a 2 to 5 lobed nucleus. If you are wondering what has caused their names to be like this, let me tell you that these cells have been named depending upon what kind of dye is absorbed by them or which kind of dye is used to stain them. Acidophils are the one which get stained by acidic dyes. Basophils get stained by basic dyes, and neutrophils get stained by both acidic as well as basic dyes. Moving on, students, let us further see certain other features of granulocytes. The count of acidophils is 2 to 3% of the total WBCs. Basophils are only 0.5 to 1%, whereas neutrophils are the largest in number, as many as 70%. Acidophils perform the function of killing and engulfing parasites. They contain hydrolytic enzymes as well as peroxidases, and they also promote tissue inflammation. Basophils are released during allergic response. In injured tissue, basophils dilate the blood vessels. Neutrophils are mainly phagocytic in nature. They are called as the scavengers of the blood. This is because they eat and engulf all the dead and damaged cells present in the body. Moving on, students, now let us talk about the agranulocyte. Now you must be also wondering why these names have been chosen, granulocyte and agranulocyte. If you notice, the cytoplasm in these two cells do not show any granules, thus the name agranulocytes. But the cytoplasm of the other three types, that is acidophils, basophils and neutrophils, showed granules, giving them the name of granulocytes. Now, agranulocytes are further divided into two types: lymphocytes, which have a single nucleus, and monocytes, which have a U-shaped or a kidney-shaped nucleus. Next, students, let us see some more features of lymphocyte and monocytes. Lymphocytes are 20 to 25% in number of the total WBCs, whereas monocytes are only 3 to 7%. Lymphocytes are considered to be the chief cells of the immune system because they produce antibodies. Now, there are two types of lymphocytes: B lymphocytes as they mature in the bone marrow, and T lymphocytes as they mature in the thymus. Monocytes are mainly phagocytic in nature. They engulf bacteria and worn out cells. Students, having said that, that is all we have for this particular topic. Let us now quickly go through what we studied today. Firstly, we studied the different features and functions of white blood cells. Then we also studied the abnormalities of the white blood cells. And students, we studied the types of white blood cells. Now students, if you are able to watch the video very carefully, then you should be able to answer the following questions. The first one is, what is the lifespan of white blood cells? The second question is, how many lobes are present in the nucleus of basophils? And finally, students, what is diapedesis? And having said that, we have come to the end of this particular topic. Thank you for learning with Top Scholars.